Okay, so today let's dive into a topic that's well, it's pretty heavy, you know?
Yeah.
Imagine going through life like always feeling out of sync with everybody.
Mm,
You struggle with like social cues and maybe certain sounds, textures just send you into sensory overload,
right.
but you never really understood why.
Yeah.
Then one day, bam, you discover your parents knew all along.
Wow.
You have autism, but they chose to hide it.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to explore in this deep dive.
Okay.
It's from this article, The Silent Secret, When Parents Hide an Autism Diagnosis. It's from the cheap ABA website.
Interesting.
And we're going to unpack why some parents make this choice, what the consequences can be for their kids, and how we can better support those who've lived with this hidden truth.
It's a really important topic for sure. What's fascinating is that this decision, hiding the diagnosis, it often comes from a place of love,
Oh, for sure.
even though it's definitely misguided. The article opens with this adult son. He's confronting his mother about a potential hidden diagnosis.
Okay.
He's in his 40s, and he's been dealing with these feelings of being different for, like, decades.
Wow.
And he finally just asks his mom point blank, did I have an autism diagnosis as a child?
And what did she say?
She hesitates, clearly uncomfortable, and says, well, who wants to say there's something wrong with their child?
Yeah, I can see that.
You can just hear the weight of the stigma she's internalized.
Absolutely.
This is a common thread we see, this fear of the label autism.
Yeah. And imagine the son's reaction in that moment. He's just been handed this missing piece of his identity.
Oh, I bet.
And his response is heartbreaking. He asks, why didn't you get me help? Why didn't you tell me the truth?
It's got to be devastating.
Yeah. It's like his whole life has been built on a foundation that suddenly, shifted beneath him.
Right, completely.
So then what happens? What does the mom say?
She says, I didn't want to believe it.
It makes sense in a way, but
This denial, while understandable, really highlights the lost opportunities here.
yeah,
Not just in terms of early intervention,
right.
but in the chance for this man to understand himself better earlier in life.
Yeah. Let's talk about those lost opportunities for a second, because early intervention, it's not just a buzzword, it can really make a world of difference.
Exactly. Research shows that early intervention can significantly improve communication and social skills,
Mhm.
increase independence, reduce challenging behaviors in autistic individuals.
Wow.
It's about providing tailored support and therapies that address specific needs, empowering individuals to navigate the world with greater confidence and success.
So hiding a diagnosis, it doesn't just deprive someone of potential support.
Right.
It actually robs them of the chance to build a strong sense of self.
Yeah, and as the article points out, this can lead to deeper issues. Think about navigating your career, your relationships, even your own sense of self, without understanding why certain things feel so challenging.
Yeah, it would be really hard.
This is the reality for many who discover a hidden autism diagnosis later in life.
No, definitely.
It can lead to feelings of being broken or not good enough, contributing to anxiety, depression, and isolation.
It's like they're missing a crucial part of their own instruction manual.
Exactly, and that lack of self-knowledge makes it so much harder to advocate for their own needs or seek appropriate accommodations.
This isn't just a personal tragedy, it's a societal problem. While we don't have specific numbers from this article, research suggests that a significant percentage of adults with autism are diagnosed later in life, highlighting the potential scope of this issue.
Yeah, it's much more common than people think.
So now that we understand the why behind this secrecy and the potential damage it can cause, let's shift gears and discuss what we can do to break this cycle.
Okay, sounds good.
The article has a strong call to action for breaking this silence. A big part of it is education, and not just for parents, but for professionals too. We need to be dismantling misconceptions and fostering acceptance across the board. And that education needs to go beyond awareness, right? We've all seen the puzzle piece imagery, but we need to delve deeper.
Absolutely. It's about understanding that neurodiversity recognizes that neurological differences, like autism, are a natural part of human variation, not deficits to be corrected.
Right.
This shift in perspective is essential for creating a truly inclusive society.
And who better to learn from than autistic individuals themselves? The article really emphasizes the importance of amplifying those voices and listening to their lived experiences.
Right. There's a huge difference between talking about autism and talking with autistic people.
Absolutely.
Centering their voices helps us build supportive environments where they can thrive.
So it sounds like creating a culture of acceptance is key here.
Definitely.
Okay.
Imagine a world where autistic individuals feel safe and empowered to be themselves without judgment or the pressure to conform.
Yeah.
That's the kind of environment we should be striving for.
I love that. Okay, well, let's take a break right here and we'll come back and discuss this more when we return.
It really is.
Yeah.
And when we talk about acceptance, it's not just about tolerance. It's about actively embracing and celebrating the unique strengths and perspectives that artistic individuals bring to the table.
Absolutely. We need to ditch that old deficit-based model, the idea that there's one right way to be, and instead celebrate the full spectrum of human experience. This article ends with a powerful call to action. What are some key takeaways for our listeners?
The first one that really struck me is the need to move beyond awareness to genuine understanding. It's not enough to just know that autism exists.
Mhm.
We have to engage with the complexities of it and challenge the harmful stereotypes that still linger.
So instead of relying on those oversimplified puzzle piece metaphors, we need to actually listen to what autistic people are telling us about their experiences.
Exactly. Amplify their voices, recognize their expertise on their own lives, and respect their agency and right to self-determination.
And that ties into the second takeaway, creating supportive environments where autistic individuals can be their authentic selves without fear of judgment.
Think about how often we try to force square pegs into round holes, expecting everyone to conform to a narrow definition of normal.
We need to flip the script and create a world that not only accepts difference, but celebrates it, where everyone, regardless of their neurology, feels seen, understood, and valued for who they are.
Right. And creating that kind of world requires all of us to challenge our own assumptions and biases. We need to be open to learning from those with different experiences and advocate for systemic changes that promote real inclusion.
Okay, so we've talked about education, understanding, and creating supportive environments. What are some tangible steps listeners can take to contribute to a more inclusive world?
Well, the first step is to educate yourself. Go beyond the surface level stuff and seek out information from reputable sources. Look for books, articles, podcasts, and documentaries created by autistic authors and creators.
There are so many incredible resources out there, and it's important to remember that autism is not a monolith. It's a diverse spectrum of human experiences.
Exactly. And that recognition is crucial for developing genuine empathy and understanding.
So beyond education, what can people do in their own communities to make a difference?
There are so many ways to make an impact. You can advocate for inclusive policies in schools and workplaces, support organizations that empower autistic individuals, or even just be more mindful of your language and interactions.
Think about the ripple effect you can have within your own circles. A conversation with a friend, sharing resources on social media, or even advocating for better policies at your workplace can contribute to a more inclusive environment.
Even those seemingly small actions can make a big difference. A kind word, a willingness to listen, a genuine commitment to understanding these gestures can have a profound impact on someone's life.
Yeah, it's like just those little things can make somebody feel seen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when we talk about creating a more inclusive world, it's about shifting our mindset from one of charity to one of solidarity. Like, we're not doing anyone a favor by being inclusive, right? We're actually enriching our communities and ourselves by embracing diversity in all its forms.
This deep dive has been really, really eye-opening, and it makes you realize how many layers there are to this issue of hidden autism diagnoses. We've covered like the parental fears, the impact of stigma, and the potential harm caused by those missed opportunities. But we've also talked about the power of education, the importance of listening to autistic voices, and the need to create a culture of acceptance.
And it's important to remember that this conversation isn't just about autism. This deep dive is focused on the hidden autism diagnosis. But it raises like a thought-provoking question. Could there be broader implications? Other situations where individuals struggle due to withheld information? What other conditions or diagnoses might be kept secret? And what are the ripple effects of that silence? It's something to ponder, as we continue to learn and grow.
That's a really powerful question to leave our listeners with. It challenges all of us to think critically about the information we have access to, the information we choose to share, and the potential consequences of that silence. Just wow.
And it reminds us that empathy and understanding are essential tools for building a more just and equitable world. A world where everyone, regardless of their differences, feels seen, heard, and valued.
To our listeners, we hope this deep dive has given you some new insights and perhaps even inspired you to take action in your own life. Let's keep the conversation going. Together, we can create a world where everyone feels safe to be their authentic selves.